And hello everyone. Happy Holi to all of you first and foremost. Hope you had a wonderful festival of colors. Hope it was a good day for you guys. Hope you're well rested and excited now for the cricketing action because we're coming with some breaking news that could throw a spanner in the works of South Africa potentially making it to the final. Why? Because New Zealand have won the toss and they have opted to, no surprises, field first when you consider that everyone has been talking about the fact that yes, at Kolkata, we could very well be seeing the onset of dew.
You have to be not watching the World Cup or be far away from the sport of cricket to have made the other decision.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way. It was but natural that you were going to have the winning captain go ahead and choose to bowl first. That's exactly what Santner has done. He's got a few things right as a wrong, I would say, as a captain. Few things right also he's got. No, only that ways do you see New Zealand qualify till this semi-final. But this is exactly what we were talking about. Perhaps was the need of the hour from New Zealand's point of view, because South Africa, I was just looking at some of the other stories that have been written across websites, etc., etc. South Africa, as you guys are family members, have also been saying, go into this match as firm favorites. But if you were looking for a leveler, you've gotten this. This is what you needed for South Africa to be competing, to be pushed to the boundary, and New Zealand will be very chuffed with the fact that they have won the toss and they've put the South Africans into bat first, and now they'd be hoping that they can get the target to be below the 200 mark.
Exactly. And also another big breaking news, because we were debating this, Matt Henry is back for this match. He's featuring.
So the thing was, again, after that press conference took place yesterday, Shane, it was very much told in clear terms that he's going to be available and he's going to be there in the semi-finals.
He was playing.
Exactly. And once you got to hear from the New Zealand camp that Henry is going to be there, you knew he was going to feature in the 11. But not just him. There is another man we've not seen much of. He is known for his acts on the cricketing field and for his humor on social media.
James Neesham. Interesting, because he also could give them a good batting bowling option. We know he can contribute with the bat lower down the order. Actually, with him and Santner, that's a good bit of firepower to have lower down the order.
He can take a very good catch at the point. We know about a thing or two of him taking catches around that area, don't we?
Exactly, that we do. And by the way, I think South Africa also are going in with a side that we'd pretty much expect them to go in with. Markram, De Kock, Rickleton. You've got Brevis, Miller, Stubbs, Jansen, Corbin Bosch, Kagiso, Rabada, Keshav Maharaj and Lungisani and Giri. That's pretty much the side you'd expect them to pick.
It is exactly the side that they've predominantly played the tournament with. You didn't expect them to have landed in another spinner. They've not done that because conditions also demanded you to have played that extra pacer. They've done that. They've stuck with Corbin Bosch. You knew that Rabada and Ngidi would definitely be the starters with the new ball and at the death. So no changes per se. And why would you make a change to a team that has an unblemished record in this edition of the T20 World Cup? They, remember, yet to lose a game. But we'll bring you the full 11s in just a bit. Remember, there's our man Anirban who's on the ground. In fact, we've got two men. You've been seeing their reports from the ground coming in for the last couple of days. There's Siddharth Vishwanathan, who happens to be in Mumbai. On the other side, eastern side, which is where this match is taking place in Kolkata, we've got Anirban who's there with us, bringing us live pictures from outside the stadium. We will get into the nitty-gritties of what the 11s for both the sides mean in just a bit, but before that, let's take you straight to the place which is hosting all the action, Kolkata, right outside Eden Gardens. Over to you, Anirban. Tell us what is it that the fans have picked up from the toss, and about your experience of having covered the T20 World Cup, especially this particular fixture over the last couple of days. Tell us what's there. In fact, people have been worried about the weather as well, so might as well start with that update for us, please.
Well, the weather is all set right now, Harshit, and also we have seen that there is it's a sunny day today, and after that there is no signs of cloud right now, just up the Eden Gardens, and weather is clear right now. A few winds are blowing, and people all are cheerful, and all are waiting to witness the big semi-final of this T20 World Cup edition. And right now, just before a few minutes, I have joined by few fans, those who were divided among themselves, because there is lots of Indian fans as well. those who are coming to witness this T20 World Cup. And you can see that the queue of people, those who are coming in Indian jersey
Yeah.
as well in South African jersey, New Zealand jersey, and people are here all the way from the Johannesburg, Durban, and also from the Christchurch, New Zealand as well. So people are all set to witness and set to take enjoy of this match. And as well as you were speaking about the pitch of this Eden Gardens Stadium. What we have seen in the last match as well, that India did it after they chased the target, and Sanju Samson was the man who hit the big runs over here. And what we have also spoken to the pitch curator of this ground, Sujan Mukherjee, who also said that it is a chasing ground, and we have seen it before also, because during IPL, I don't know you remember or not, during 2018 IPL, uh, uh, also Virat Kohli, we have seen his scored century in the second innings
Yeah.
after defeating Kolkata Knight Riders, and many more matches, many more examples are there. Rinku Singh is there, who played for KKR as well. He set one aim to chase over this ground. KKR also chased over this ground. So right now, as the people were also saying, few New Zealand fans I met before this, and we will show it to our channel also in Sports Today in other videos. But they were also saying that this is the chaseable ground, and we hope that New Zealand bowl first, and they will set a small target for themselves, and after that they will chase it down. So we are all waiting, and people are already being in the fight as who want which team will play in finals if India qualifies tomorrow after playing against England. So few are saying that they will take badla of this Ahmedabad match in the finals, and they will win. India will win after 2024 as well by defeating South Africa. And few people are saying that New Zealand will be the easier team for India to tackle in the finals. But that is the future that we cannot say right now. But overall, the situation and the environment over here is very cricketing, and people from all over the Kolkata, West Bengal, as well as from outside, from the other countries as well, they are all here, and we are hopeful, we are excited, and we hope that the stadium will also get the full attendance today as well.
You can see a large stream of fans actually even walking behind you, so it does seem like fan interest is definitely there for this match. I mean, it's also interesting. You're talking about you're talking about KKR and everything. There are 3 players in the New Zealand 11 who happen to be part of the franchise. The 2 openers as well as the number 3 in Rachin Ravindra. Reckon it'll be an interesting time for them, considering, I mean, if you can make some good runs here, could be good for your not just final prospects, but also a chance for the IPL starting 11 as well.
How about, Nirban? Shane makes a very interesting point, because oftentimes we've seen that, regardless of the nationality, once the local franchise ends up picking up a player in these big fixtures, you want them to be doing well from the IPL point of view as well. How about you speak with a few fans, and let's try and see what is it that the flavor over there among the fans is like.
Well, I found already got that, and also few people over here, those who support CSK Chennai Super Kings, they are in New Zealand jersey, because they are saying that Rachin Ravindra is there in the team, and that's why we support New Zealand, and he's from New Zealand, that's why we support New Zealand. So this kind of things is happening over here as well, and we have seen in case of South Africa as well. And few people are in RCB jersey, few people are in CSK jersey. Most of the people over here are in Indian jersey, and they are saying that we came here to witness the finalists of this T20 World Cup edition, those who will play against India. So it's all Indian angle, and maybe it's a neutral venue for both the teams, but it is all about Indian angle, and people are all here to secure their easier team for the finals for India.
Right. Anirban, appreciate your joining us from there and bringing us all these updates. We'll take forward the analysis from this point of view, but we'll look forward to chatting up with you once again. It's a long night ahead, as is the case, or as has been the case, I would say, throughout the last 4 weeks now. We're closing in on that 1 month mark now of this tournament getting done with. So we look forward to your company at a later stage. Thank you so much for giving us a sense of what exactly is it that the weather looks like and what the people over there feel about this particular match. Interesting, of course, you had to be looking at the Indian fans turning up as well, and I'm not surprised from what Anirban says that they don't want to play South Africa again. Why would you, after a team inflicts a 76-run loss, has an untainted record and hands down looking like a team on fire at the moment?
No, absolutely not. You would not. I was saying it very clearly even yesterday. If I have to selfishly pick which team I want to face, it'll be New Zealand. By the way, I was going over the New Zealand 11.
Yeah.
And good God, that team bats deep.
There's a Jimmy Neesham who's been added in the mix.
Yeah, because do you know who's their number 9? Cole McConchie. And we know he can bat.
We saw it the other day.
So he's their number 9. They have two bowlers as such. And I think it's Henry and Ferguson. That's it. That is it.
They're the laggards.
Yeah, the rest everyone else. If you've got Santner coming in at 7-8 types, phenomenal.
You've got Neesham, you've got Santner, you've got McConchie. Again, this is a batting lineup. Any team will need an extra couple of bowlers. Less said about plans that you will need to cater to such kind of a deep batting lineup, but we'll go from top to bottom. Let's see which teams, what kind of strategy have teams adopted over here. Let's go with the New Zealand 11 here, since we've already just touched upon them. Finn Allen, Rachin Ravindra, Glenn Phillips, usual
Tim
customers.
Seifert, you forgot.
Sorry?
You forgot Seifert.
There's Tim Seifert
That's
as
your
well.
top 4 is your pretty set.
Top 4 is pretty much set. Then there's Mark Chapman, Daryl Mitchell, James Neesham, Santner, McConchie at number 9. Then you've got Henry and Lockie Ferguson.
That's a deep batting lineup. The bowling, I agree, might sometimes look like it's very reliant on a lot of part-timers, because again, you've got Henry and Lockie who you'll guaranteed get 4 overs from, maybe a Santner. Other than that, though, you'll turn to a Cole McConchie for overs, you'll turn to Daryl Mitchell and maybe Jimmy Neesham for overs, and potentially, depending on the match situation, you may even send Glenn Phillips to roll his arm over if a left-hander is there.
If a left-hander there, and I think the conditions, while going by just form, I'd like to go ahead and give the ball over to somebody like a Rachin Ravindra, who we've seen in the couple of games that New Zealand have played away from India. In Sri Lanka, you saw in those sluggish conditions, Rachin Ravindra did come good. He picked up a 4-4 the other day, and yeah, that is a thing that New Zealand would have liked, because they've got some sort of quality with the ball. But New Zealand, their concerns I think are far more with the bat than with the ball, and for this batting lineup to not face those kind of hardships in today's high stakes match, you want that target to not go beyond the reach of this batting lineup. Again, I don't want to take anything away. There is firepower. Remember, there is Tim Seifert, who has entertained us on a couple of occasions. There is a Finn Allen as well. Glenn Phillips will really have to have a good day to be able to produce the kind of returns he's expected to in this shortest format of the game. But Daryl Mitchell, Daryl Neesham, again, you're a bit suspect about the two of them. And then there is Santner as well, who did chip in with a good 40 the other day. But he's not somebody you can rely upon at that position who is guaranteed giving you a 180 to 100 strike rate. So the one thing that New Zealand need at the moment is a good performance with the ball, so that the batters do exactly what is doable for them, which should be, if you ask me, Shane, somewhere around the 170 to 185 sort of range. Beyond that, all of these guys will have to pull their socks a bit, I feel.
Yeah, I agree. I think they'd want that, even though we know Kolkata due sets in, it will make batting easier. I think they'd still want to keep it on anything under a shade under 190. Above that, let's not forget, pressure also plays a role. This is a World Cup knockout match. There's no coming back from this. Super 8s, if you lost one, there was still a chance that you had 2 other matches which you could potentially win and then be a part of the conversation. Right now, though, there's no room for error. So if I'm South Africa, I'm thinking, listen, I'm going to try targeting 200. 200 in a knockout, forget about it. It's not happening. I don't care how good the batting
South Africa, and let's dive into their 11 as well with the firepower that they have. And I feel that they got a little more firepower going into the contest that the Kiwis do. Looking at the situation, looking at the opposition they're facing, and the fact that they can be a bit wanting when it comes to their bowling attack. And remember, this is a fixture we've seen play out in the past, and which the Kiwis got a mighty rotten hammering, I would say, from the South Africans. I think they won it by 7 wickets to spare. Looking at all of that, and then I'm looking at my own strengths, you know, big match, semi-final, knockout blow. That's the opportunity that South Africa feel they have. If I can get to about 215, 220, that just pretty much sums up the game. It pretty much puts the game to bed at the halfway stage. And for the fact that I've got resources, yes, they will not bat as deep as number 9. But remember, you've got a Corbin Bosch who comes in at number 8. And there have been a fair few in-form players, starting with the captain in Aiden Markram. 175, 180 has been his strike rate. He's managed close to 270 runs already in the tournament. A batting track. Would the South Africans really mind losing the toss here?
See, I mean, the key is, if I was South Africa, the one advantage I'd give myself is that even if they're chasing 200, I'd be very confident in defending it. You know why? Because whilst they bat till 8, whereas New Zealand bat till 9, but South Africa have a better bowling line above.
Yes.
And it's not just the fact that they have the extra full-time bowler, but overall, if you're looking at, you've got a Rabada, Maharaj, Lungi, you've been doing well. But even other than that, you've got a Marco Jansen, Corbin Bosch, Aiden Markram can chip in with a couple of vital off-spin overs. I'd be very confident because it's very well rounded. Yeah. My only complaint with them has always been they don't have a wrist spinner, but they've made done just fine without one, so they don't need a wrist spinner either. So they are actually, their bowling is very well rounded. Lungi, assuming sometimes the KKR, the Kolkata wickets at times, cutters can be a very, very, very good trick to have.
And now we know that, you know, he's really come good with his cutters. Yeah. He's been found susceptible a few times, predictable also, I would say. And execution's been lacking with Lungisani and Gidi in the years of him being in the IPL is something we've seen.
Even for South Africa, he was always a wicket taker, but we knew he could be expensive.
And he'd be second fiddle. Now there's come a point in this tournament chain where Lungisani and Gidi is being talked about much more than Kagiso Rabada, somebody who comes in, and both these gentlemen come in with a lot of pace, more pace than Lungisani and Gidi, who at best will give you about 138, 140. But the good thing is he's shown that from 140 he can take it down to 125, 115 as well, and he is very good at foxing the batter. He's outfoxed the batter already on multiple occasions. Suryakumar Yadav, we remember in that match, found it hard, just bowling it right under his eyes, but giving him no speed at all to navigate the ball, to work in that situation. And today, though, I again think Lungisani and Gidi will be playing a big role.
No, I agree. I think he'll be their key bowler. He's someone who's flown so under the radar that usually for South Africa in big tournaments, he wouldn't even be starting. He would be playing in, or Nokia. Heinrich Nokia would be in player 7, but Nokia's form has been so poor in recent times. Not just for South Africa, but if you look at it in the IPL as well, for 2-3 years he's been found really wanting.
It was just 3 seasons back, I remember, where he was very, very good
for DC.
For the Delhi Capitals. Really, yes, he was shown the door again. At that time, yeah, Delhi had a difficult choice to make as well. But yeah, you let him go. And I remember I was telling you at that time as well, when we were building up to the auction, that, you know, people thought that you perhaps made a big mistake, etc.
No, but his form is rubbish.
But yeah, his form, especially at the death, he was no longer the bowler that you saw him 3 seasons back.
Exactly, he was not. That injury which he had prior to 24 or during 24 that time really, I think, knocked the stuffing out of him. He hasn't been the same bowler. And coupled with Lungisani and Gidi's improvements as a bowler, just made the choice so much easier. And now I think he'd be the main fear, because Rabada has been good on occasion, but has also been expensive at times. Lungisani and Gidi and I think Marco Jansen are the 2 X-factor bowlers in that side.
2 questions for you before we dive into the comments. We're also nearing in on the first ball being bowled of the match. Question 1 to you, Shane. Are we seeing a happy post or a sad pose from Jimmy Neesham by the end of this game?
I mean, I like Jimmy Neesham a lot as a person. Comes across as a nice chap, so I hope it's a happy one. But I don't really know. South Africa are starting favourites, let's be fair. Even with the toss not going their way, I'd say they are the stronger team. What do you think?
I'd be with you. I remember we've done so many conversations on camera, off it. It's just so very difficult to have, pick New Zealand over South Africa. South Africa, just I think objectively, arithmetically, cricketing wise, no matter what angle you try and pick here, South Africa just look the more well-rounded and a complete team. Remember, New Zealand, the only team, by the way, in the semi-final stage that we are in right now, that have lost 2 matches. All other teams just lost 1 match. So yeah, for a reason, South Africa do feel the outright favourites in this match. And even though the toss has been a bit of a leveler per se, but that is more something that the Kiwis needed than the South Africans, that still give the edge to the Proteas over here. And yeah, also very interesting, Shane. None of these teams, by the way, while some may believe that South Africa have the monkey of the back, in New Zealand's case, you can say the same, just that their monkey got off the back a little earlier than theirs did. But remember, that monkey got off the back in red ball cricket.
Exactly.
As far as white ball tournaments go, 2000 is the last time you saw one of them lift a ICC white ball tournament or win an white ball tournament. We've not seen anything ICC white ball since then.
Exactly. And what's even funnier is that if you look at both the semi-finals, one side you've got the battle of 2 teams that haven't won it. The other side you've got the battle of 2 teams that won it twice.
Won it.
So it's very, very interesting in that sense. Let's see. Oh, this is an interesting thing.
Yeah, this is something that Shukri Conrad had said yesterday in the press conference.
Yeah.
So there's this question that was asked to him about there being defeat for South Africa in 15 and 19 in the subsequent in the subsequent years as well. Of course, the C word was mentioned as well in that same press conference, but earlier in that press conference, and he was asked about how is it that he feels about South Africa being talked about as the favourites, not just in this match but in terms of lifting the title as well, to which, as Shivam reminds us, he said that I'm glad that we are favourites because I've always felt that as a South African team, you want to be able to play as a favourite.
I agree. I think they're one team that never started. They always looked good. There are so many tournaments where the team, you looked at it and you're like, oh, it's hard to find a weakness. And then their weakness would so often be themselves. But now, I think, ever since they've won that WTC, they've just looked a different team. I know at times in bilaterals they faltered, but I mean, considering their past history, they were a team that were giants in bilaterals. But come ICC tournaments, they just end
fizzle out.
Always. And oftentimes it would be their own doing.
Yeah.
Now to have reached a point where they've constructed such a formidable looking side, I'd take it. No one cares about bilaterals.
And Shukri Conrad does deserve a lot of credit for it.
I wholeheartedly agree. He's done
none of this is overnight, and we've seen this success across formats.
Yeah.
They won a series in India against India. They've lifted the WTC title as well, and they made the right sort of noise as well. Not a single game dropped. You thought that perhaps nerves would get the better of them in that match against India in Ahmedabad, but nerves. I think it's the Indians only who felt the nerves that day.
Exactly. Anyway, let's see how it is that the family members are feeling today. You've got Giri123. Are we sure this is not Shivam's burner account? He says, Happy Holi. Thanks as always for the great content. Do you think England bowlers will trouble our batters tomorrow, especially Rashid or dare I say Jax? Jax would be an interesting one considering the kind of problems you've had against off spin. And Jax has been probably their best bowler.
Jax, with the kind of returns he's had with the ball, he sort of reminds me of Saim Ayub. Remember the kind of trouble that he'd given to you earlier this year?
Yeah.
He sort of gives me that kind of vibe. Again, that's not the kind of bowler you will always prepare for because you're looking at training for a specialist. If you're entering the spin net session, if you're in that net where spin bowlers are bowling at you, then you wanting to be preparing for the flight that a Rashid can offer or the kind of slow balls that he can throw at you. How do you prepare for somebody like Jax, who will definitely come into the picture, but you're essentially focusing more on the specialist guy and not somebody who on paper is part-time, but come the day can give you proper 4 overs as well.
Exactly, that's the thing. He would be a worrisome one considering also how many left-handers we have. But let's see. I would back this Indian team still to be the favourites. You've got nationally reminding us that South Africa, New Zealand's head-to-head, I guess, an ICC tournament, 5-0.
5-zip.
Yeesh.
Commanding
Indeed. Scroll slightly down. You've got freaking awesome saying, in the last game between West Indies and India, we hadn't considered fielding. Both teams haven't fielded well, but this is the contest between top 2 fielding sides. If South Africa score 180 plus, it's game on. I do agree. Last game we saw slack fielding, but if there's one thing South Africa and New Zealand you can never criticize,
Fielding. Yeah, ground fielding has been
Ground fielding,
phenomenal.
catching. You have Glenn Phillips, who's a walking, talking blinder.
Phenomenal. Glenn Phillips, the moment that you name him in the 11, you can consider yourself to be 20 runs plus already on the scoreboard. He's saving you those many runs already.
Exactly.
Whichever way you want to look at it. If you're ending with a total of, let's say, 193 to chase, assume it would have been 220 had he not been on the field.
Exactly. Rahul, not Dravid, says, for New Zealand supporters, if New Zealand beat a strong South Africa, wouldn't that make New Zealand the tougher finals opponent? And if people say it was just a one-off loss, couldn't India do the same in the final versus South Africa? I agree. See, there's no good way of looking at it. Either way, you'll have to beat a top side in the final.
Yeah.
You have to. There's no two ways about it.
Yeah, again, I'll just take you guys back to last edition of the T20 World Cup. When you saw Australia over there in the quarters, we're all like, okay, what's going to happen now? What's going to happen now? It's the mighty Aussies. Of course, the hurt of 2023 was always there.
Yeah.
But for you to have ended your jinx of an ICC title, you had to beat the one of the better sides, and you had to be competing with then eventually South Africa as well. You met England also then in the semi-final. So there's only to a point that you can hope for that you don't play the best sides. After all, contests, competition, these big tournaments, ICC championships are meant to be playing the best sides, play these higher stakes encounters, and then emerging as champions.
Exactly. You've got Sarat Chandra Yalamarthi saying, panelists, England are saying that they are getting undue criticism of their playstyle versus spin. Salt, Brook, Jack saved them from spin threat in 3 matches. Didn't we see their abysmal show? Can we scroll down slightly so I can read the rest of his comment? Didn't we see their abysmal show versus spin in 3 matches? No, I think, look, we know that if there's one thing baseball, England specialize in, it's playing the victim. So they will get some criticism, we're like, oh, it's unfair. But you're right, they have struggled against spin. That is, in fact, this thing also, Sarat Chandra is asking, who's Daryl Neesham? I think you made some sort of an error by calling him Daryl Neesham. Jimmy Neesham.
Maybe I said Daryl and Neesham.
He probably called him Daryl Neesham.
Maybe that was the time that I was reading out the 11s, maybe.
Sachin Kashyap says, I hope QDK fires today, although he hasn't fired too much. Miller will decide the game with bat and ball. I'll go with Kagiso. Kagiso would be an interesting shot because he's not really had that much of an impact in the tournament, but come at the big games, come at the big players, I wouldn't really put it past him to do well.
Okay. Last question though, which I have for you, Shane.
Yeah.
I'll try and answer that as well.
Let's keep
Score
it quick, 'cause
prediction.
matches. Oh, score prediction. I think South Africa get to about 195 and win.
95?
195 and they win.
Ooh, I'm going 186.
And who wins?
Results the same.
Results the same. Let's see how it is that the match goes. Of course, we'll be joining you guys mid-innings and post-match as well. So stay tuned to Sports Today. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Like, share, subscribe, all that stuff. Tap the bell. Stay tuned though. Plenty more coming your way. For now, from me and Harshit, it is bye-bye. Enjoy the match.